Hello and welcome back to Offscript Radio. This is your Iranian war update, as well as other updates happening around the world. The Iran war may be winding down or escalating into something much bigger. Russia is stepping in, NATO is fracturing, and oil prices are surging. And the Ukraine war is now directly tied to what's happening in the Middle East. This is one of the most dangerous global shifts we've seen in years, which is why everyone's paying such close attention to it. A major strike in Tehran injured a top Iranian official and killed his wife, signaling high-level targeting inside Iran. The U.S. is claiming victory and preparing to wind down the war. But Iran is denying any ceasefire talks and has rejected any offers. Behind the scenes, talks may be happening tied to reopening the Strait of Hormuz, critical for global oil supply. Meanwhile, drone and missile attacks continue across the Gulf, humanitarian aid is being blocked, and oil supply disruptions are pushing global prices up. This war is not fully over. It's shifting into a political and economic phase. The Strait of Hormuz disrupting is driving rising gas prices and global economic pressure. European countries are already implementing fuel caps and tax cuts, and they're struggling to coordinate a response. So this is now an energy crisis, not just a war. Russia's making moves. Major developments. Russia says it's ready to step in as a mediator in the Iran conflict. At the same time, intelligence suggests Russia is supporting Iran with drones and intel. Russia is also benefiting economically from rising oil prices. So one way to look at it is Russia is positioning itself as a power broker and also as a beneficiary of this conflict. Ukraine says Russia is gaining from the Iran war, higher oil revenue because we took some sanctions off of them, less Western pressure, and less U.S. focus on Ukraine. Ukraine is responding by targeting Russian energy infrastructure and expanding ties with Middle Eastern countries. There have been some major strikes inside Russia. This is no longer two separate wars. It's one interconnected global conflict system, which is why a lot of people were saying that this was kind of World War III already happening. We know that NATO has already been fracturing, but it's getting much worse. NATO allies are refusing to treat the Iran war as a NATO mission. We know Germany, Spain, and France have basically been hands off. Tensions are rising as U.S. criticizes NATO support. There are threats emerging about potential U.S. withdrawal from NATO, which we have heard from Trump more than once. Europe is divided. Some countries are backing Ukraine strongly, and others are pushing to ease sanctions on Russia. NATO unity is being tested in real time, and if you think about the whole Article 5 thing, they're supposed to have each other's back. They're this big global powerful alliance. We're not really seeing that. We didn't see it with Russia-Ukraine, and we're definitely not seeing that in the Middle East. There's been a BRICS global power shift. Russia plus Iran cooperation is strengthening. Western alliances, NATO, are showing cracks and breaking down. And Middle East nations are making independent deals and working with both East and West. This is accelerating a multipolar world shift. BRICS influence is rising, and we already know they want to kill the US dollar. Western dominance is being challenged. So here's what matters the most right now. The Iran war may be slowing down, but it's not resolved. Russia is gaining power and influence. Ukraine is being affected directly in multiple ways, and they're assisting in the Middle East with drones. NATO is divided, and the global economy is feeling it immediately. There is no longer a regional conflict. This is a global power realignment happening in real time. Let's go ahead and check out our clips for the day. And jumping right in, the FBI officials recently alerted Congress to Chinese cyber hack classified as major incident, according to Fox News. Now, this isn't new. It's not new that China's hacked us and is in basically all of our infrastructure. But this specific incident must have been pretty large. We have a neat clip here of a 747 passenger commercial jet watching Artemis 2 take off. Also with Artemis 2, there was an unexpected problem with the toilet. They did get it resolved overnight. It was several hours to fix it though. And that could have been a major problem. But remember, on previous missions, they would just go in plastic bags. So I'm sure they could have worked it out. Gulf countries are considering the possibility of laying new oil pipelines to completely bypass the Strait of Hormuz. And while that could be a good idea, it's also going to be extremely costly and take a good amount of time. This is an F-15 trying to intercept and take out a drone unsuccessfully.
Вот этот дрон кальпешве. Вот этот дрон. Вот.
And that just goes to show you that even if you have the means to do it, it doesn't mean you're always successful. There were large explosions reported in Mossad, Iran, hitting another fuel source. We're seeing the same thing in Russia, Ukraine. They're hitting energy infrastructure. China's PLA Daily claims that Japan has 44.4 tons of separated plutonium, enough for about 5,500 nuclear warheads, and warns Tokyo could quickly become a de facto nuclear power. And remember, at the same time, they don't want Iran to have any nuclear warheads. During the holiday in Israel, there were more than 100 launches from Hezbollah at northern settlements, and we're going to see more about that here shortly. An Iranian major general says if the enemy launches a ground operation, meaning the U.S., not a single one of them would make it out alive. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz threatens Hezbollah leader Naim Qassem. You and your associates will pay a very heavy price for the intensified fire toward Israeli civilians as they sit to celebrate the Passover Seder. You will not live to see this. You will be deep in the depths of hell together with Hassan Nasrallah, Ali Khamenei, Yahya Sinwar, and all the eliminated members of the Axis of Evil. Fars News reports the B1 bridge in Karaj, among Iran's tallest, was hit. We can see some closer images here. CENTCOM has released more footage showing strikes on Iranian Shahed drones, as well as non-operational launchers. Their main focus has been taking away their ability to attack us. Austria has refused all American requests to fly over its territory. UAE minister, it is not possible to coexist with an Iranian regime that possesses military capabilities threatening the countries of the region. This is a moment that bridge was targeted. You can see it here in the middle, that first explosion. You can see pieces of it collapse. Once again, Trump is discussing firing National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard. Trump is considering replacing her due to disagreements over Iran. Israel hit a large artillery depot in Iran. That is a sizable explosion. You get the initial hit, and then you get secondary explosions based on whatever's inside. Then we have this missile. This was in Jordan. There's a missile that's incoming, and they attempt to intercept it unsuccessfully. And we're seeing this pattern of these unsuccessful interceptions across the board. That's your interceptors going up. Missiles incoming. And that's how fast it can change on you. This is some footage showing Hezbollah members attempting to seize control of a drone, and it seems like they're using some kind of electronic warfare to possibly do that. And we see this in Russia and Ukraine. I've heard stories, unconfirmed, that there would be entire swarms of drones incoming, and they would use electronic warfare to make them hit a completely different target, tens of miles away. Yesterday, the U.S. Ohio-class SSGN surfaced off Gibraltar with a dry deck shelter, transferring special forces. The GDS lets SEAL teams deploy and recover underwater. Again, part of this ground invasion. So tell me, do you think this ends in peace or expands into something much bigger? Bigger than it already is? And stay with me. We're going to keep tracking this thing as it develops. See you in the next one.